My name's Dale Littles, Rescue America Ministries. I'm going to talk to you just a little bit about the recent, the latest, I guess, um, debate about racial issues. And this is something I don't really relish discussing. I have many black friends. It's not my purpose to alienate any of them and put any of them down, any more than I do, my white friends. People that know me know that I'm not racist. I have worked with people other than people like me for many, many years in ministry. I've worked with prisoners. I've worked with homeless people. And I've worked with, I'm now here in Romania working with the gypsy population. Trying to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, hoping to get a church started in a village. And the groups that I worked with in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, I was very close to them. And I hope that's still the case, even though I don't see them that often. We differ on opinion sometimes, and may on this, but I'm convinced of the truth of it. So, and I commend them for what they were doing. I was part of that group because they were the ones that were doing something. I didn't see people with my skin color out there on the streets that much. Not that there weren't any. I'm sure there were, but most of the people working with the homeless people, and of course most of them are black, and some are ex-inmates. Some are even... That's where they hide out at, among the homeless population. But I appreciate the heart of the people that were out there doing that. But just a quick history. I think it's about 2012, the Lord began to burden my heart about the racial divisiveness that's in this country. So this is not people that try to say it started with Donald Trump. That's totally false. It's been going on for some time. People have made more of it since then, and maybe it is a little worse than it was even then, but it didn't start with him, and it's not continued, necessarily with him. You consider somebody racist just off the bat, then, and to make that accusation, then anything they say is considered racist. And so anything that comes out of the president's mouth is, those on the left consider it racist because they accuse him of being a racist. And let me say that racism is a horrible thing, but slander is a horrible thing also. The Bible speaks strongly about people who slander other people. And that's what goes on many times on the left. They, instead of trying to argue the issues, they begin to make accusations. They slander people. And in many cases, it's swayed voters in elections because they know that it doesn't matter whether what they say is true or not. If they get the accusation out there, it plants it in people's minds, and it'll change the way they vote then when they go to the ballot box. And so, the easiest concept for the left, many times because they don't have a good argument, is to just slander the other person. And that's what we see happening with the president for the most part. CNN, and where this goes to, and let me say right quick too, before we get into that, I tried to sit down and have this discussion. I called a biblical discussion on racism. I invited many people to come and to be a part of that. And with the black friends that I had, even though, being white, I have more black friends, white friends, I suppose. Even though I did have a significant number of black friends that I felt close to. Only two of them would come to the meetings that I set up. And it was many times that they couldn't be there because of different reasons, either sickness or other obligations or something. And so sometimes it was what we end up oftentimes and most times was a group of white guys sitting around talking about racism. And my purpose was to sit down and, because I have questions that, I'd like to be understood. How I feel sometimes of some of these charges, and I want to know how they feel, about certain things. And so the thing was that we just sit in a safe environment where nobody gets angry, no one, talks hateful, but we calmly discuss, the issues of racism and from our perspective and trying to come to an understanding of how each of us feel. But it just didn't happen. We even tried going to a conference call. And again, it's the same ones all the time that came in on the conference call. And so just before we came to Romania, and that's why I'm here now working with the Gypsy people, then finally gave it up. And I said then, because some of my friends, black friends, were very adamant about posting things, strong things on Facebook, condemning people for racism that, maybe weren't necessarily that truthful. And so I said, well, it's unfortunate that this is where we have to have the discussion. But if it's where it has to be, it has to be. It's not the best place. What I had in mind and having a semi-private setting to sit and discuss civilly was much better. But, that's not to happen. So let me just say, CNN reporter, many people saw it after the president made his tweet about Baltimore being rat infested. And I don't know, honestly, I don't know if he was a bad actor or if he was very insecure in who he was as a black man. But to make the leap from rat infested to be referring to black people, to me, it really reveals a lot of insecurity. I just don't know how you make that connection unless that's how you think of yourself. The president did not make that allegation. He did not make that link. But others did. Others on the left and other black people have made the accusation, well, that was code word for, black people. Well, as everything, the president said, that's almost out of his mouth anymore. That's what they say. It's code words. That's white supremacist code words for racism. And makes me wonder, is there any words left in the English language that aren't code words, for racism? Or is the English language racist itself? Do we just need to get rid of the English language and replace it with the language of some morally superior group of people or a culture? Well, I want to tell you, there is none. I don't believe in white supremacy. I don't believe in black supremacy. I don't believe in brown supremacy, Asian supremacy, or anything else. I believe we're all the same at heart. And so to try to and that's what this does. It tries to bring division in some of these cases where it's not there. And so that's the implication of this line of thinking, that white Europeans are somehow the consummate racist. Therefore, we're morally inferior to all the other races. I've talked to plenty of people on Facebook who hold those beliefs. Some black, some Hispanic, some others, and they'll tell me, that's what they believe. This is also the implication of the continuous drivel about systemic or systematic racism in this country or in the United States. That certainly, it's just not true. Does racism exist? Yes, it does. Anybody'd be foolish to say it didn't. But there is no systemic racism. That's all the left and the Democratic Party continues to put that out there, and they talk this up about systemic racism, and what it does and what that says is basically to the minority cultures is that because of white privilege, you can't succeed. And I'll tell you, that's the reason why so many black people, and don't get me wrong, white people underachieve also. Some of them are lazy and different reasons. But I think one of the biggest reasons that many minority people are underachievers are because this has been put into their head that, the system is against them. It's systemically racist. And so you can't succeed. It's a waste of your time to try. And until you decide to get out from under that, then you're never going to achieve a whole lot. As long as you can blame someone else, and that goes for white people, that goes for black people, brown people, I don't care what color skin you have, as long as you want to blame someone else for your situation, then you'll stay in that situation. And so we need to get out of that. That's what that does. And they keep people under their thumb by doing that and dependent on them. Dale Little, Rescue America Ministries.